guys, welcome back to my channel. This is definitely going to be a little bit of a hard video to film. I'm sorry, I keep messing with my hair. It's gonna be a hard video for me to film for multiple reasons, and I'm just getting comfortable. For multiple reasons, and obviously for reasons where I feel like people can easily judge a video like this from where I'm coming from. Kind of, I don't know, there's so much judgment that can come around making a video like this, and that is the reason I've been putting it off for, I don't know, 5 months. But I just kind of keep getting this feeling every now and again to make this video. And I don't know if it's a bad decision or not, and I don't know if this is actually going to be the video that goes up on my channel, or if I'm going to refilm it, I don't know. But I kind of wanted to share with you why, not because I'm required to, not because I really want to delve deep and let loose with what's happened and the drama behind it all, or nothing like that. But because I do YouTube, I try and share my life with you guys. I try and be open. I enjoy, you know, sharing different things about my life and helping people, and share brands that I believe in, and sharing day in the life videos, or what I eat, or updates on my pregnancy, or all that kind of stuff. It seems weird for me to have a huge gap in where I was 5 months ago to where I am now, and no explanation. And I just want to make sure my channel is cohesive and flows nicely, and I know if I don't, a lot of people will be like, what happened? And so this is why I'm filming the video that I'm about to film. And I just want to make it clear too that none of this video is designed to, you know, pinpoint certain people or judge certain people, or this is just a generalization of what I've experienced and what I went through and how I was treated, and why I made the decision to jump from a career that I spent a lot of time investing into to suddenly doing something completely different. So without any further ado, I'm just gonna get right into it, and I hope you guys can understand where I'm coming from. And if any of you are in the same boat, or you're questioning whether you want to go into a career of ballet or the arts, then maybe some of this can help clear it up, or whatever. You can decide what you get out of this video. But this is just me being honest and open about my experience and why I'm here where I am today. The question is, why I'm no longer a professional ballet dancer. And I think for a lot of people it came out of the blue, and it was kind of a shock to a lot of people that I spent every day with. And then for other people, I know that they can understand because they feel aspects of it themselves, or they just are understanding people, and they, you know, they don't have personal feelings towards me that are negative. But big thing is that I lived for dance. I did everything for dance. By the start of age 3, I danced in my living room. I danced literally 24/7. I was on Chinese television dancing. I would do all kinds of performances and absolutely loved it. I traveled all the way around the world: Canada, Thailand, Russia, England, America. You name it. I was at that prestigious school for some period of time, and I owe a lot of that to my family and friends who gave money and supported me, and I literally could not have, you know, achieved a professional career without them. And that's something that I hold very dear to my heart, and will always be thankful for those people that invested a lot of time and money into my career. And I want to make sure that to those people, if any of you guys are watching, that I don't want it to come across as though I'm ungrateful or I just kind of threw it away, because that wasn't the case. Yeah, I was obsessed with ballet. I watched videos all day, YouTube, you name it, all of it. So the biggest point I want to make for one of the reasons why I stopped dancing and ended my professional career, I have notes here so I don't get like lost, is environment is so crucial when it comes to an art form. Actually anything, any job that you're doing and you're investing your life and your time into every single day from 9 until 5 or 9 to 6 or even 9 until 10 or 11 o'clock at night. The environment that you surround yourself with, whether it's the physical environment like the space, the building, all of that is very important. Sorry if this keeps cutting out, but my camera is overheating. So fingers crossed it doesn't happen again. But the people you work for is extremely important. People that are in charge, people that you look up to, the people that direct your day, direct your schedule, direct your casting, all of that stuff is extremely important. And then the last thing is the people that you work with, like your co-workers who you dance with. They're a huge portion of your life. They're who you have your everyday conversations with, who you have to physically move your body around or with or figure things out. All of that stuff is super, super important. And if there's any aspect of that environment that is not functioning correctly, working together and working as a cohesive unit, then one of those aspects is going to fall out of place and not work as well as it could work. So that's one point. The next thing is mentally dealing with, for me personally, remember this is all my personal experience, mentally dealing with my body image and how I felt physically, like looking at my body every day in a leotard and tights and all that stuff. It was a huge challenge for me. And yes, part of that was because of what I dealt with in my past and body image and eating and all that stuff. But at the same time, you're surrounded by your co-workers, and especially in the company that I was dancing for, a lot of it was down to being skinny, and you know, the principals were the skinny ones and people would get more roles if they were skinny, and it's just this energy where physically and mentally it was a challenge. And yes, I'm physically a very small person, even being 6 months pregnant, but I had a lot of challenges, I had a lot of challenges with dealing with that mentality when I knew other companies focused on health versus focusing on skinniness, and there was not really a focus on health with attention on women in the company that I danced for. Another thing is that in the company I was dancing for, a lot of the girls, not all of them, but a lot of the girls had a tendency to be very bitchy and very not genuine, and a lot of them love to gossip, love to talk about other girls, talk about other roles, talk about all kinds of stuff. And yes, girls have a tendency to do that at any job or any part of life, but for me personally, I naturally was never raised to gossip about people. I never enjoyed it. I always felt bad afterwards. But to be a part of the group, I felt a need to join in, or I knew that a lot of the girls were talking about me and the information they had about me was incorrect, and they were forming opinions of me that was incorrect, and they treated me a certain way based on these incorrect assumptions. And of course, it spreads like wildfire, and I felt detached, I felt attacked, and no matter how much I decided to push it away or not think about it, there was a part of me that just felt very falsely accused of things, or uncomfortable being around people that I knew had talked about me and all that stuff. Another thing is that nothing really ever stays private or personal to your own life. So for example, I had a major thing happen in my personal life that I wouldn't wish upon anybody to happen. And it just so happened that the time and place, people at my work decided to get involved even though it was none of their business, and completely ruined my relationship with them. And also they themselves developed false opinions of the situation and decided to spread it around my entire company and gossiped about it and basically shared something that was very hurtful and deep to my personal life. I never ever felt the same after that situation occurred, and no matter how much I tried to stay professional and to keep my personal life separate, I never felt... Lily, can you just lie down? Come here. I never felt I could be the same or enjoy the people I worked with the same way, because nobody ever confronted me on the situation personally, and I felt very, very hurt by that. And that also did not help the fact that I was already hurting from the personal situation that I had occur. And you feel like the people you work with and you're friends with should be the people that support you and help you through those times of difficulty, but that never happened. So things that happen in your own personal life, oftentimes people in your work environment try and get involved, and the story gets mixed up and askew, and it just becomes a huge mess. Another thing is your director, your artistic director, your executive director, your ballet master or mistress. They are a very important part of the company and your career. And it's not about working hard. It's not about you pushing yourself to the limit. It's also about them challenging you and believing in you and believing that you can do better than you have been doing. That is what their job is, essentially, is to coach you and to encourage you. And if any of those people aren't doing their job correctly, then you as a dancer stay stagnant no matter how much you push yourself, because they're the ones that give you roles, they're the ones that see your potential, and they're the ones that make you a better dancer apart from what you do yourself. And unfortunately, where I was dancing, a lot of those people in those roles did not fully take on their job or their role to believing in their dancers, and a lot of their job was gossiping about people, talking about people behind their back, disrespecting people, based on personal opinions of people that worked underneath them. And it's just so messed up, and it's so complicated to even explain because it should just never happen. But if a certain ballet master, for example, has an opinion of you based on something your coworker has said, which is not true, they then therefore will base that opinion on your casting and you as a person, and yeah. So that should never occur. They should be doing their job professionally and directing you and pushing you and challenging you to be a better dancer than you were yesterday. And they also need to be respectful that you come into work every day and you push really hard, and you've spent your entire childhood pushing to be in this place, and you deserve respect. I mean, if you respect them, then they need to respect you back. Another thing is, as I mentioned already, is personal relationships. Where I danced was put at the forefront. For example, if someone didn't like me, I don't know specifically who, but I know there were lots of people that didn't really like me based on gossip and false things. They actually put their job and professionalism behind them, and the forefront of us having to dance together or all that stuff was 24/7 brought to the main spotlight. So let's say, for example, I was partnered with a certain guy who didn't really like me or didn't like partnering me or thought I wasn't very good or whatever it could be. They would partner me badly because they were more affected by their personal opinion of me than putting on the professional, like, we need to work together no matter what personal feelings we have about each other, let's just work together. And that never really occurred. And it kind of doesn't mean you're doing your job correctly if you can't put personal things behind you. And so for me as a dancer who was pushing and working really hard and aiming towards big things, was really difficult for me because I felt really mistreated as a dancer, a coworker, and a woman essentially. So that really had a huge impact on my confidence, and I knew I wasn't a bad dancer, but they would make me feel like I was a huge reason why I could not stay in my job was because the men in my company, and I know that there are men in other companies, probably mostly in America, they can, not all men, but some men, could be really, really disrespectful and very full of themselves and very critical towards women of the company, whether it was about their dancing or their weight or their body type or being partnered with them. So they would criticize the woman for being a bad partner or whatever. And that was, it's completely against the ballet mentality. Ballet, the whole art form of ballet is designed to make the woman look good. It's not about men. I mean, yes, they have great talents, they can do variations, it's powerful to watch, but when a man and a woman is dancing together, the man is basically invisible, and it's about showcasing the woman, unless it's a specific scene in a ballet. And the fact that my company was catered towards the men, and the women were the ones that, oh, she's not a good partner, I don't want to dance with her, she's too fat, or she's too heavy, I don't want to dance with her, or I just don't think they're very good enough, or oh no, I'm disappointed because I just don't think they're a good enough dancer to be with me. And that was the whole mentality, and it brings you down. And a lot of those men were lazy, a lot of them had attitudes, and this is what I mean by the top down, is the people in charge cater towards the men mostly and the women after. And that's just such a old-fashioned mindset. It goes against everything that our world and what we promote on, you know, women's rights and, you know, all of that kind of stuff, equal rights and respecting women. And it's so old school, which is a big, it's so upsetting, because as a woman, to be a professional dancer, there's so much more competition than a man has to go through, and the woman has to work 10 times harder to get noticed and to have a job or to get a certain role than a man does. So the fact that it's catered towards men is just completely not correct. It's not a good functioning company that it should be. That was a huge thing. I would have men say really disrespectful comments to me or criticize me, or, you know, even say things like, oh, well, you're anorexic, right? Or you're this, or you're that, or, well, she's heavier than you, but, oh no, but she's heavier than you, or you're heavier than her. And it was just like, to have personal things said to you, to your face, or talked about behind your back where you could overhear people, was very unprofessional and extremely damaging on my confidence and my self-worth. And I think it's just completely unacceptable. Sorry, my camera keeps cutting out and I'm freezing. So I'm sorry if it doesn't cohesively match with the previous clip. But another thing I just wanted to touch on was the fact that I found a lot of people in the company they could be very like into themselves, and the art form is a very selfish art form where you're constantly thinking about yourself and you're thinking about how good you look, you're thinking about how you can improve, or you're thinking about, I mean, everything is basically about yourself and making sure that you look good or you can achieve a certain step or that kind of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, you have to be a perfectionist and you have to push yourself and think about yourself to a degree. The hardest thing I felt like was the people in the positions of principal or a soloist like rank could be, I don't want to say were because it wasn't everybody, but they could be very critical of those in the core ranking and think very much of themselves and the fact that they were principals or they were soloists, and they were very critical of the corps de ballet. Also, if you were a corps de ballet member sharing a role with a principal, they could be very critical towards that as well, and very much like into themselves in a negative way, instead of obviously focusing on yourself and making sure you're improving, but then realizing that you are a role model for a lot of dancers that are striving towards the position that you are in. No matter what role I got, whether I got a lead in a ballet or I was in the corps de ballet, I always tried my best to not be like, oh, I have the better role than you, or I don't know, I don't want to sound critical because obviously it's not everybody, but it's a general like feeling, and it's not nice to not be able to look up to people, or to look up to people they're dancing but then not other qualities that they have, because there's no cohesive like package. And especially as a corps member that did a lot of corps roles but then also did other roles as well, being in the corps and dancing corps stuff together, and the amount of work that it takes to, you know, be at the forefront of a corps de ballet line or make sure everyone looks the same. There's a lot of work that goes into it that you can't be focused on yourself 24/7, and I wish that the people that had been in the corps and then gone up in the ranks could have appreciated us as the corps more than they did, instead of being so, as it came across at least, not fully respecting the corps for the fact that it makes a ballet. The corps de ballet makes an entire production, and a lot of corps members were doing 5 or 6 roles in a ballet, and your attention is very much taken up with quick changes and different roles that you have to take on, different characters, and a lot of choreography in your head, and you can't just focus on your one character unless you're doing a lead role. So I just wish there were aspects to that which could have been better, and I wish I could have had a mentor who was encouraging and could guide me in the things that I was doing, and I could watch them and be inspired as to what they were doing, and it be like a nice mentorship. There were multiple times where I would see people actually make faces at corps de ballet or make faces of disgust towards certain people dancing, and because the personal aspect of their relationship was so involved, they could never encourage each other. For example, if I was doing a lead role in a ballet, I probably would get maybe 1 or 2 people come up to me and say, I'm so genuinely happy that you got this role, you deserve it. and everybody else would just make faces or would not say anything. They wouldn't even say merit, or they wouldn't even say congratulations. And I think it's sad. It became a very sad, depressing environment to be around. It became very fake. And I think that's the word that kind of encapsulates this whole industry, is the level of fakeness is so high up that no matter what friends you think you have or the position you are in the company, it's very fake, and it can turn around on your back very quickly and be so not genuine. There's nothing, like literally nothing genuine about that environment when it's toxic, when certain people treat you a certain way, or they don't respect you as a dancer, or being hardworking, they don't respect you. Or if you don't drink alcohol, they criticize you or they judge you. To each to its own, I understand that, but at the same time, if you look at it on the reverse point of view, you know, I went through phases of drinking and didn't really enjoy who I became or what the effects of alcohol was doing to my body when I was drinking, so I stopped drinking. And I dealt with a lot of criticism and sarcastic remarks, and I stood true to who I felt like I was and what was best for my career and my body. It doesn't mean that those comments made don't affect a person. I know a lot of people will disagree with this, and they look at the ballet world differently, or they had a different experience to me, and maybe it was an all positive experience, or maybe they're just a different person and their values and their integrity and what they stand for is different to what my intentions were going into a ballet career. My love for ballet was pure. All I wanted was to dance. I didn't necessarily want friends or social life to be the most popular or the best dancer in a company. I just wanted to dance and feel free to show artistic expression and to feel supported, whether they were my friends or not, but to have an encouraging environment around me that supported me and I could support other people, and wasn't the case. And so I, as a person, developed a dislike for ballet. I started disliking going in every day, knowing that people would say hurtful comments to me or the people I loved. I also started to dislike going through the motions, because to be able to go through the same motions every day, I'm getting emotional. To be able to go through the same motions every single day, you have to love it and you have to be passionate about it. That passion and that love for it never left, obviously. But when your environment sucks and when people around you are mean and hurtful, your director or your ballet master or mistress or whoever it is not investing their time into your career and how much you work hard and how much you truly want to achieve better, it's really hard to keep that love going fresh every single day. And I know all of you dancers can relate to, there are days where you feel like you're going through the motions, and there are days where you absolutely love going through the motions of dance or the repetition or whatever it was. And I guess I just want to end off this video by just saying the reasons why I'm happier now than when I was dancing, and it's nothing to do with dancing. It's nothing to do with being unhappy with the career I had, because I feel like despite my career being short, I feel like I achieved so much of my personal goals that I wanted to achieve, despite everything that was going on around me, despite not having supportive people around me, despite having people talk about me behind my back, despite having drama occur, despite not always getting casted in the roles that I wanted to get. I genuinely feel like I am very proud of every single performance that I've done, and I'm proud of the roles that I got, and I'm proud that I got to do principal roles, and I got to do soloist roles, and I got to do core roles. I'm proud of the fact that I was a strong core member, and I'm proud of the time that I put into my career. I'm proud that the whole time I stuck true to myself and who I am, and I didn't change for anybody. I'm proud that I finished my career being a better person and seeing things from a different perspective, seeing life from a different perspective, and seeing how much bigger life is outside of the ballet world. And I think I was ready to love my body for what it was. I was ready to love my body whether I had shredded abs or I didn't have shredded abs, and I was ready to not put so much pressure on myself and my body, and I was ready to just take care of my body. I wanted something bigger than ballet. I started to see life from a different perspective, as I said, and I started seeing outside of the ballet box and how much bigger life can be. And one of those things was having children, and I've always wanted to have children young. I've said that in so many of my videos. And being 25, I remember being really young, probably 10 or 11, I don't remember, and setting goals of, you know, oh, I want to be this age when I become a professional dancer, and then I want to be this age when I get married, and I want to be this age for having kids. And those kind of things just kind of flew away when I got a job. But it just so happened that everything that happened, whether I got engaged or I got married, happened at the same time that I saw them in my mind when I was 10 years old, and I didn't plan for it to be that way. And when I turned 25 and things started happening, I started seeing my career not really go to the place I wanted to go and the environment not be what I wanted. I knew it was the right time for us to have kids, and that feeling of wanting to have kids never left. No matter how much ballet I did to keep myself busy, it just kept coming back. I don't feel comfortable dancing and being pregnant. It's just one of those things where I love my baby inside so much now that I'm pregnant that I couldn't imagine dancing. I couldn't imagine jumping up and down or spinning on point, like turning on point, or doing some, like, all these crazy steps and choreography or being partnered whilst being pregnant. Like, I want to protect my belly and my baby inside like so much that I just couldn't imagine dancing and being pregnant. My relationship with myself is so much better. I love who I am. I embrace who I am. I've come out of it being very, very different and more confident in who I am as a person and who I was made to be. My relationships with other people have improved. My relationship with Jake has improved. My relationships with family has improved. Multiple different things has improved, and that's because I now have the time to invest into them. Before, I felt like my attention was dispersed in so many different things and I couldn't put all my love and affection into who they were as people. So I think my relationships have improved. Life in general seems brighter. I love the fall now. Like, I used to hate the cold weather because it would be so gray and dreary, and now I embrace the cold. I can't wait for Christmas. I can't wait for holidays because now I can actually have Christmas and have holidays. Another thing is, I just didn't want to put my children in daycare. And I know this can be controversial. being able to work from home and have money by working at home is the one thing I wanted to do when I had children, because I wanted to be invested in their lives and I wanted to be there for them, grow up as a close family. And putting them in daycare for hours and hours a day is, number one, super expensive, and number two, it literally breaks my heart if I was to have to say goodbye to my child every morning for multiple hours. I just don't think I could do it. And a big thing is that I have so many opportunities kind of taking place now that they've taken several months to kind of unfold and become something. And that's part of transitioning into the real world or something else that you're passionate about. And I'm super passionate about social media, YouTube, my blog, sharing parts of my life, sharing about health, sharing on Instagram. And I also love fashion, and different opportunities and projects have been arising and kind of taking shape. And so I can't share a lot of them right now, but I have a lot of things that are coming up, which is so amazing, and I'm so grateful that they're happening. And it's so crazy because when you're in ballet, you don't feel like you're qualified to do anything else. You're like, how can I earn money doing anything else? And the biggest thing is sticking to it when you're transitioning, and knowing that ballet doesn't define you for just doing ballet. It creates and molds you into being a very motivated, hardworking person that can take on pretty much anything. Going through a couple months where we were in this unknown place as to what we were doing, you know, in our lives, because we chose, we weren't fired, we chose to end our careers when we did. And making that choice sometimes is harder than being fired or, you know, retiring at a certain age. And we went through a couple of months of being like, what's gonna happen? And our life is now going so far beyond what I could ever have imagined for us. And financially, future things like kids and our relationship and our future and all of that stuff, it's just kind of mind-blowing as to the potential that you have. And when you set your mind to something, the perfect situation arises. And that's why I have the privilege of being able to work from home. I think I learned a whole lot about who true friends were. I learned a lot about protecting yourself and staying true to yourself regardless of what people say or think about you. And now I'm a lot more wary with who I am friends with, and I'm grateful for all the people that have stood by us and kind of at least listened to what we've had to say in terms of leaving our job. And I'm eternally grateful for those people. But also with developing new friendships, it's kind of taught me a lot about what to look for and what a true friend actually means. So it's really special to have like friends that are really invested into your life just as much as you are into theirs. It shows a lot. Then the last thing I just wanted to say is the fact that I will cherish the moments of being on stage for the rest of my life. I will always miss dancing, and I will always remember what it felt like to ignore everybody backstage and ignore those people who didn't have your best interests at heart, and being on stage and just being free artistically and spiritually inside. I have some incredible memories which I'm excited to share with my kids, and kind of just to hold close to those, knowing that choosing to leave was not a failure. It wasn't because I failed as a dancer or as a person, but I made the right choice for me and where we wanted our future to go, and knowing that that was the best choice I have made, and knowing that I have so much more life to give, knowing that I am still young. I don't have a serious injury. I never had serious injuries. I was fully invested in my dance career, as am I now fully invested in my work life and in my pregnancy and preparing for that. And I am so happy that I am still so young and I have so much future to become even more successful than I ever would have being in a dance career, and knowing that I am successful too because I had a dance career. I am so excited for our future. I'm so excited for where we're going, and I'm so excited to become a mom. And I want to say thank you to all those people at the ballet company that I dance for being nice, and for those people that did genuinely support me, those people that I partnered with that took care of me on stage and who were a pleasure to work with. I also want to say a big thank you to Jake for us meeting and for us becoming or developing such a wonderful relationship. For him also being a wonderful partner and a man that also always respected women. I know some of the other guys that I danced with were the same. So I just really appreciate that. And so yeah, I'm gonna go before I start crying. I love you all. I hope you understand where this video is coming from. I hope I didn't offend anybody. It's from a place of honesty, truth, reality, and unfortunately the truth is not always fun to listen to, but every field in the world has its negative sides. It has its pros and cons, and the wonderful pro that we have now is that there is nothing holding us back. We are in charge of our own life and our own future financially, and like what decisions we make, and that is a freedom that is so worth it. So anyway, I'm sorry for getting emotional. I love you all. Thank you all for watching, and if you made it this far, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye.